Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Syarul Afrizal and I am the leader of CentOS Group. So I will explain the server that we make. The host name is server. We have the IP set to 192.168.1.5 and to 192.168.1.10. That is the range of the IP from the server to the client. The difference between static IP and dynamic IP is static IP is have fixed and the same IP for each client that was assigned from the start. But dynamic change periodically by the list time of the client. Like if the server said the list time is around 50 hours, then the IP for that client is the same for 50 hours, then change to another IP. Second, static IP need to be manually put from the start because if not, the client will not get any IP. But for the dynamic IP, it's gonna be automatically assigned if a new client connect to the network. Like if let's say a new laptop connect to a Wi-Fi server, then the IP for that laptop will be automatically assigned for that list time. The advantages of static IP is it is easier to host a website, email server, or game server. Reliable for remote access, and DNS record do not need frequent updates. But the disadvantage is usually it's more expensive to maintain, requires more manual management from human, and can be more predictable target for attacks because the address never changes. For dynamic IP, the advantages is it is easier and cheaper to manage than static IP. It's more efficient to use the available IP address, and it's common for home internet connection. The disadvantages is it's not ideal for hosting service because the address may change over time, and it's not remote access become difficult unless you use dynamic DNS. Okay. The usage of DHCP is to network protocol that automatically assign network setting to device when they join a network. That means if a new device or client join to an existing DHCP server, then it will automatically got assigned an IP to connect to the server or the network, because it's gonna be all automatic, no manual assigning needed. To know if the service is running, we can check for the server. We can ping the outside website like Google, or ping the DNS that we use like Cloudflare or Google again. But for the client, we need to check the IP. Is the IP got assigned by the DHCP server or not? Because sometimes, so to know is the client service is running or not, we need to ping the server address. Like for our case is 192.168.1.254 to check if we connected to the network server or not, because sometimes for DHCP server it will not connect to internet. For how to check if we got the correct IP in the client or not, we can check for Linux. We can open the terminal and type IPA, then we check the When then we check the IP, is it correct or not, or not. Okay, that's all from me. I'm gonna give it to my friend. Thank you so much.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. So my name is Adam Iman Hakimi bin Azul Nasri and my matric number is B152510101. So right now, in our group project, my role is to demonstrate the secure file transfer protocol, that is SFTP subsystem, in our configurations. So in our group projects, we use virtual Linux server, which is the central SFTP host, and it has a static IP address that we use, that is 192.168.1 and 0.254. Okay, so now based on this demonstration, the first one, we will start to write a command sudo apt install to install the OpenSSH server. By this, we will create a server for the SFTP in our client server. And okay, on this video, you see that I have already installed the server. So the next step is we need to add a group and a username that I have already created for our group. Our group and username is CentOS, and then when we will type a command that is ls -l to search our text file is presented in our client server. So based on the prompt on the terminal, it says that the server has already have the test2 file inside the server, and then if the server did not prompt anything, you need to create the file by using a command touch. Okay, and then we need to log in into our SFTP server using SFTP, and then our username, that is CentOS, and then add and use the IP address that we have already configured. So on this terminal, it says that it is already connected to our IP address, and then we already get into our SFTP server. So on our SFTP server, we will need to navigate our directory to the uploads to put our test2 files into the uploads directory. So we use the command cd uploads and then put test2.txt, which is it says that the command put is to place our test2 files inside the uploads directory. And lastly, we will need to test our SFTP server, which is if the server already place our test file inside the directory by using a command get and check the status of the file by using lls and -l.
Hello sir, my name is Giat Halim bin Bahrain. My matrix number was B152510044. So I was on group 4 for the OS project, which is CentOS, and my part was about the database. Our virtual Linux server is configured with two interfaces, ETH1 and ETH2. So the virtual Linux client receives its IP via DHCP in the range of 1.5 and 1.10. Well, first I will verify that the client can communicate with the database server over our private internet network. I am pinging the server's internet interface at 192.168.1.254 from the client. As you can see, the ping is successful. Now, let's verify the database service on the server side. I am running systemctl status MariaDB. As highlighted on the screen, the service is green, active and running perfectly in the background. It is also set to enable, meaning it will automatically boot up whenever the operating system restarts. However, to allow our internal company employees or our company web server to fetch data, I modified the configuration file. As shown here, the bind address is explicitly set to 192.168.1.254. When I check the active sockets using SS, you can see the operating system is active listening on port 3303, strictly bound to our internet network interface, ensuring outside external users on the internet cannot access it. Now, I will simulate an internal client request. From this client machine, I am initiating a remote connection to the database at 192.168.1.254 using our unique company credentials. Upon entering the password, we successfully bypass the firewall and log into the MariaDB shell monitor remotely. Let's execute some live SQL queries. Running show databases displays our custom baksu_db. I will switch to it, view our created tables and fetch the live corporate data with a simple select query. This completely satisfies task 5 of the mini project requirement, proving that our client server architecture is fully integrated. Lastly, to prove the security compliance of our database environment, as expected, the server immediately rejects the handshake with an access denied error. This concludes my individual demonstration for the database service deployment on Debian. Thank you.
Goodbye!
Assalamualaikum, my name is Mia Nisrina. Today I will demonstrate my part in this mini project, which is web server system. A web server is a software that stores, processes and delivers web pages to user through a web browser using the HTTP protocol. In this project, I use Apache 2 on a Debian Linux server to host a simple website that can be accessed by client machine. This command checks the status of the Apache service. As shown on the screen, the service is active running, which means the web server is operating correctly. First, I obtain the IP address of the Debian server using the IPA command. The client will use these IP addresses to access the hosted website. Next, I test the network connection using the ping command. A successful reply confirms that the client and server can communicate. Now, I am accessing the web server from the client computer by entering the server's IP address to the web browser. I designed a simple company homepage for this project. It contains the company name, project title, and information about the web server. This demonstrates that the Apache is successfully hosting and serving HTML files to the client.
Hi guys, we are So today we are going to do a Q&A session. So my name is Adam Iman Hakimi bin Azul Nasri.
My name is Muhammad Syamsul Rizal and I am the group leader.
I am Yahya bin Bahrain.
My name is Mian Nisrina binti Muazzam Shah.
So the first question will be asked for my friend Shafiq is what is a DHCP server?
So DHCP server, DHCP is a network protocol where if a client want to join a network, it will got automatically assign an IP and other important network settings like the gateway and the DNS. So it will automatically do all of that without any manual intervention.
So how a DHCP server works?
So DHCP protocol works by using the DORA protocol, where first there is a discover. The client who wants to join the network will send a ping to search available DHCP server. The second one is offer. The ping that got to the DHCP server, then the DHCP server will give a request offer to the client. Then there is request. If the client really wants to join the network, then it will take the IP that got offered and give the confirmation to the server. Then lastly, there's acknowledge. If the connection got established, the server will acknowledge that the client is connected to the server, and it will give all the permission.
Okay, so next I'm going to ask Iman the questions. So the first question is, why do we choose SFTP subsystem over normal FTP?
So the answer for that would be that SFTP have a secure system that we provide to our server, which means that standard FTP only provides a medium to transmit the data such as user password and command parameters into the internal network servers. So it will not provide a secure environment or medium to the user to transmit the data inside the internal network servers. But if we use the SFTP subsystem into our server, it will ensure that all the data will be encrypted first before passing it down to the internal network server.
Oh, okay. So the next question is, how can you verify the server is reachable?
So to verify that the server is actually reachable, we need to write a command or use a network diagnostic. For example, ping, and then we write our IP address. So if the result of the command will prompt active running, which means our client server is reachable to our main server. So by that we can verify that our client server is reachable.
Alright Mia, I want to ask, why did you choose Apache?
Okay, so I use Apache because Apache is free, reliable, easy to configure, and widely used on Linux servers.
I understand it now. Well, the next question is, Mia, what is a web server?
Okay, so a web server is a software that stores website files and send them to users when requested through a web browser.
Okay, now I will ask you a couple of questions. First question, how do you allow a client to connect to the database?
Well, Shafiq, I allow the client to change the database by change the configuration file binding address from localhost to the IP internet server address.
I understand. Okay, last question. How do you test if the database works or not?
Well, Shafiq, I log in remotely from the Linux client terminal using our subject code, which is baksu_user.
Okay, I understand. Thank you for your explanation. Yeah.
Welcome very much.
Okay, so that's all for our QA session today. And once again, we are from Group
Setcom.